Hey guys, Custom here. Hope you're having a great day. Today I have episode number 3 for you of my series on small space whoop racing tips. And we're taking things up a notch in this video. If you guys have watched the past 2 episodes in this series, basically it's just been all about a single feature and how to practice that in a small single room area by using that obstacle and one other obstacle to kind of tick-tock back and forth through your rights and your lefts and practice different variations of that feature. And that's all well and good. However, practical practice, if that's even a thing, is more about creating racing situations and realistic tracks in your home. So it's not something you can totally do, obviously, because again, space is limited. But today I'm going to show you guys how I set up different obstacles around the house to create a track that helps me practice something that I'm looking to work on, as well as helps me get good practice that's going to transfer to race day and make me a more fast and consistent pilot. So I hope that all makes sense here, but I want to go through my mindset here as I'm creating tracks, because track design is a rabbit hole. You can be super thoughtful about it, spend 3 hours creating a track and fly, for an hour on it, and it could be the best thing ever, but you don't want to spend 3 hours creating a track. You want to spend that time flying. So how can we quickly create a track with our target obstacles, our target skills in mind, that again gives us that realistic practice? That's what we're talking about in today's video. So let's get started. So the first thing I want to touch on is setting out your obstacles. And as you can see, we already have some obstacles set out here. I got a ladder behind me, and I have a cube back there, one close to me here as well, and I have a gate panel right there as well. And I also have this tripod on the table that I'm using as a pylon. And the big thing with this is don't overdo it. It's always going to be better to have less obstacles than have more of them. If it's too technical, it's going to stop being realistic in nature, because most tiny whoop races you go to are going to have a large venue and have spacing in between the obstacles. So if everything's super close together, you're not going to be able to fly as fast, and you're going to be inherently less consistent. So don't overdo it. And this is 5 course features right here, one of which being a pole. So you can see it does not take a lot to get one of these tracks together. Now, as I'm placing these out, I'm basically just looking for open areas in the room to put these, and spaces that I have a lot of area to fly around. Again, no real rhyme or reason to this yet. You don't have to be concerned about which way it's going to flow before you get in the goggles. But I do like to just think about, hey, I might want to fly through this dive gate and come out this panel right here. But again, nothing further than that. You don't have to link the obstacles together. Just make sure you have enough space to fly around all of them. So once you have all of these obstacles out, it's time to go ahead and get in the goggles, and we're going to spend 4 or 5 batteries just flying around and figuring out how this track is going to flow. And once we got that, then we can kind of start establishing that and moving forward with actual practice. Okay, so we're in the goggles now, and I'm actually already 3 batteries into flying around this area. I didn't want to make you guys sit through 6 minutes of me just brainstorming and flying around trying to figure something out. So I've already got a general idea of what the track's going to look like, but I'm giving myself this last battery to get everything nailed down before we get into the actual practice batteries. So before I started any of this, I decided on 3 different priorities for this track. The first one being I wanted to do a left ladder. The second one being I wanted to do 2 different dives, one to the left and one to the right. And the third being that I wanted to do some sort of dynamic direction change. And I'm not totally sure what that means, but some unique feature with a direction change in it that challenges my consistency. Okay, so let's go ahead and take off, and I'll walk you through where I'm at so far here. So I took off from that table right there where I'm sitting, and immediately I saw this left-handed ladder, and I decided, let's go ahead and take this all the way down here. And once I got to that point, I figured the dives right here, might as well just hit that to the left. But that's a bunch of left-hand turns, so maybe I'll just do a single ladder down to the left and then hit the dive. I was just going to go around here and continue to the left, but again, there's no direction change so far, so what if we come out of the dive here, come up and direction change around the ladder as well, and then hit the dive to the right that time, so back around to the right here, right dive, and then go through the bottom of the ladder and kind of exit that area as well. So that gives me a dive in either direction and my left-handed ladder, so 2 of my 3 priorities are already checked off here. There's our right dive and out of here. So I originally thought we were going to come around here and I was going to do like an ascender out of that gate and maybe hit this gate right here, and then go back to my ladder for the start of the lap. But I didn't like the flow, kind of going straight into the ascender gate and then immediately hard turning. It wasn't quite what I was wanting to practice, so I thought maybe instead of that, what if we did something more like that, where you go into a hard right and do like an ascender gate and then hit it to the left. Also, you know, if you wanted to do like a right-handed dive, you could do something like that as well. But I thought this is a cool kind of flowy S-turn move. And that takes us back to the start of our lap here. Dive to the left, back around to the right, at the bottom, into the right, back to the left. And that kind of was where I ended up on my track, and I think this one is pretty fun. It's important not to be too harsh on yourself when you're creating a track like this really quickly. You can't expect it to have a bunch of direction changes, and you can't expect it to be perfectly balanced between left and right turns. You know, your space is pretty limiting, so anything that flows good should be a win for your track designing skills. But this is something, again, that I just came up in with in 3 or 4 batteries, so really not bad. It feels pretty good, and I feel like I can get faster at grinding this track. So like I said, guys, simplicity above all else. I probably could pack a little bit more into this space, but, you know, it's all good. I think this is going to be good because I can fly around this space relatively quickly and turn a bunch of laps with every battery, so I think it's going to be a good little track. Okay, so as we get started with our actual practice battery here, guys, I just wanted to say that it's really important to control your mindset, especially in the early stages of learning a new track. Obviously, you're not going to be as consistent when you're trying to start pushing on a new track. You don't have that muscle memory in, and you haven't turned 100 laps yet, so again, it's not going to all come immediately. Mindset is really the most important thing when it comes to whoop racing, for me at least recently. If you aren't in the right headspace for it, it's really going to become frustrating, no matter if you're going super fast and crashing a bunch, or if you're not crashing at all but you feel like you're going super slow. So yeah, just think about that as we start practicing here. We're going to go ahead and get up in the air and let's just turn some laps. So my biggest priority on these first practice packs is to turn a few clean laps and figure out the racing line. As you can see, I'm kind of just coasting through these turns here, not giving it too much throttle, not pushing too hard, but really just finding out the way to fly around the track here, how to keep it smooth. That is the goal. And I'll probably fly my first 4 or 5 batteries just like this before I start pushing. Because ultimately you got to practice how you race, and the biggest thing is that you don't race at full tilt. Maybe when you have nothing to lose in like a bracket that is, you know, out of your skill level and you've made it super far in already and you kind of got to give it your all. But when you're in a situation where you got to kind of turn laps consistently, this is the speed that you kind of want to go. Just whatever the speed looks like for you, but not giving it too much on the gas, at least for me. You know, it's tempting always just to kind of give it that extra throttle, give it that extra speed, and go super fast. But practice should be about consistency and repeatability, and not about doing that one super fast hot lap. Just have fun with it. Just feel it out. And practice your recoveries as well. Pretend like it's an actual race. So anytime you make a mistake, you know, practice either staying in the throttle and trying to get your way out of it, or a quick recovery, getting into turtle mode if you I had to disarm. And yeah, so that's about a battery for me. And that is pretty much it. Okay, so that's gonna finish this video on up. I hope you're able to take something away from my process that you can use on your next track building and practice flying session. I know this is a really general video. It's not going to apply to everybody the same depending on the amount of space you have to fly in and the different obstacles you're looking to work on and features you have to play with in your space. So I'm gonna try to continue to release these videos as I fly in different spaces, as well as maybe even do a video with the same exact obstacle layout as I just did and show you guys how you can create a bunch of different tracks with the same obstacles in the same format. So that's the goal here. Maybe even next time I might go into a little bit more detail of my brainstorming process. But again, I wanted to keep this rather concise for you. So let me know down in the comment section below if there's anything particular you'd like to see as it comes to track building, because it's something that really does fascinate me. So take care, guys, and be sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. All that YouTube stuff, you know the deal. I'm gonna try to keep this content grind going with your video requests, so let me know what you got, and I will see you guys in the next video.